is the Bitcoin Globe Day 1302. This is kind of like a part two video to my last video, which cut out. Forgive me for that. It's not my fault. QuickTime cut out, and I wasn't going to make that one again because I feel like it wouldn't have been as spontaneous. But we're back now to cover some of the points that we were covering in that last video. Namely, number one, please check out Andreas's new video called Streaming Money. If you don't know who Andreas Antonopoulos is, he is a brilliant mind. You may not agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything he says, but he does have a big vision for Bitcoin. He does work on Bitcoin full time. He has a lot of Bitcoin knowledge, and he understands it on a very deep level. There's even a lot of the technical stuff. Talks about Mimblewimble. So you can check that on YouTube. Andreas Antonopoulos, type streaming money. That's the first time I've heard those two words used together. Streaming money. I do like the idea of getting paid by the minute. Like every minute in my bank account. Streaming money. If you were watching this video right now and I had my Bitcoin address on there, or there's just a button that you could click to send like a micro, like you send me a fraction of a penny, and I'm getting that from 10 viewers and it equals a penny every minute or something like that. Streaming money is an interesting concept. It can apply to a lot of different jobs because we're stuck in this mindset where you go to school. Well, we're not necessarily stuck in it. I think we're waking up from this mindset where you go to school, you're told when to wake up, what you're fed the information that you're going to read, right? Like this is your history, this is your math, you're going to learn all these things, this is your English. And you're basically tucked into a schedule, and there's an authority figure that you have to follow, or you're disciplined in different ways, and it's just a crazy system that we're born into. And I'm not dissing the system. We're all born into it. Let's respect that. Being a human is not easy, but we need to be prepared for evolution. Evolution is coming in the form of finances right now, because money is represented in this era. Money represents power, the ability to create from your imagination, like whatever you can think of. If you have infinite amount of money, you can create. You can do whatever you want. Basically, if you're a billionaire, you can basically do whatever you want within the confines of law, and to pay your taxes and to be a great citizen and all that stuff, of course. But you can do whatever you want. You can create companies. You can create ideas in a much easier way because money represents power. Bitcoin is the purest form of power, I believe, in my opinion, right now on Earth. And it's not even it's still in its infant. It's an infant. Bitcoin is an infant. We're all Bitcoin infants. Even Andreas, as advanced as he is. And one of the comments on the Andreas video in the Streaming Money was he kind of looks like a dark Sith Lord. And yes, to some degree, he does sit in front of computers all day. He's not getting much vitamin D. He doesn't seem to be exercising. He is dedicating everything to Bitcoin, it seems. Bitcoin right now is kind of like a rope, and some of us are climbing on. If you've bought Bitcoin, you're climbing up this rope. You're gaining experience with a new technology like the internet at a very infant stage. You're interacting with Bitcoin. I've lost money with Bitcoin gambling. I've lost money and in bad investments, and sometimes it was like cloud mining. There's a lot of these cloud mining sites that would pop up, and you could get a free 10 gigahertz miner or whatever, and it pays you a little bit every day, and then you put a little bit of money into it, and then they disappear. Or there was BitAge, there's Coins, there's so many like these high-up scams that I experienced. A lot of them. I was hooked on Bitcoin. It's addicting like anything else. It was this new thing. I want to get more of it because it represented power, instead of earning it the real way by creating value within myself. And that's what I'm trying to share now, is any sort of Bitcoin value, knowledge, wisdom that I can get across in a short YouTube video that may influence you. Now, I wanted to also talk about Circle, because I was a bit negative towards them, saying, what has Circle done from Bitcoin? They've done a lot for Bitcoin. I actually saw the email they were sending out, and it was a very nice email recommending people to Coinbase and saying it's insured and saying a lot of positive things. So they are a good company. They have helped pave the way to what Bitcoin is now. Anyone that has any part, Mike Kearns, anybody that has had any part in the Bitcoin world have helped it to get to where it is now, which is it's in a great place. It's not so big here in the United States because our banking infrastructure, which is incredibly slow, actually, especially like cross-border payments. It's incredibly slow. It's incredibly expensive for what you're getting. I mean, it's just a bit of digital information that's being transferred, and you're charged a huge amount of fiat value for this simple process. And there are apps that are being used. I think Circle is working with one now. But Bitcoin doesn't work within, it works within our existing infrastructure so much as it is allowed. And it also creates a whole new infrastructure. So it's more, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with fiat currencies or government monies. I'm just saying Bitcoin is here to support them, to make them more valuable, to make them more useful, because these are debt-based currencies and they imply a debt-based mindset, which we're still shedding. Many of us in the Bitcoin space, we still are in this debt-based mindset. And as a society, we're still in this debt-based mindset. And debt is very closely related to fear. Debt and fear are almost one and the same, because debt is related to not being able to have a roof over your head, not being able to have the temperatures, the warmth that you need, the food that you need, the clean water that you need, the toilet. Toilets are huge. Having a toilet is nice, right? These things are human things. And if you're largely in debt, and your credit score goes low, you are forced out from the system. And yes, there's all these supplements, but that obviously is not working, because once you start getting government handouts or whatever, you just want more and more of it, and you stop really going after the things that matter in some regards. So we have to find some kind of balance here between capitalism and environmentalism and all these things to make the world better, right? And for those that are interested in Bitcoin right now, we're climbing this rope, and this rope may pop, and Bitcoin may go to, it probably always will be worth something, but it may not be worth what it is now. Maybe the value goes down. I don't see that reality coming, but that is a possibility to head off naysayers here. But those that believe in a reality where Bitcoin reaches huge numbers like 10 billion, and you're mining off any device, not 10 billion, maybe, okay, a Bitcoin reaches 10 billion. That's a huge number, right? And if you have one Bitcoin, you are now the 1% of the world. You have immense wealth. Well, what are you going to do with that? You're able to stream money to people to help build things, to build environmental programs, to help make an impact, a positive impact on the globe. You're shedding off this negative debt-based mindset, and you're doing something that actually matters, something that makes you feel empowered, something that makes you feel inspired. It doesn't have to be with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin will open up doors for you in the future, in this reality. If you're sitting on the sidelines, you're waiting for Bitcoin to fail. There are people that are probably waiting for Bitcoin to fail just so they could be like, I told you so, right? Just so they can have that little bit of egoic pleasure. When there's some of us that actually truly believe in this, in a reality where Bitcoin can make a more positive reality, to not have to go out, like I'm here in America, right? And I'm having so many people approach me for money that it reminds me of Cambodia in a lot of ways. It's crazy that in America, the wealthiest country in the world, I'm having people come up to me on the streets and ask me for money. And that's everywhere in the world, right? And it's like, we want to be giving, we want to be loving, we want to support humanity, we want to help people. We do, but we're in this society that we're in. You're like not encouraged to help people, and when you do, it's kind of almost seen as a negative thing. And it's not our fault in a lot of ways. We want a system where people don't have to come. I don't want people to approach me randomly asking me for money or for help, right? There should be technology that could help them. And it's not that I don't want to help them, but asking for money is just a weird thing. Like, to have to beg, to have to be a beggar, to not have the options. A lot of people don't have the options. There's a guy at the gas station the other day. He needed a couple bucks for gas. And yes, maybe he could. And that thing is, you don't know if he's just some guy trying to get a few extra bucks because he knows he can, or if he just legitimately needs some gas and he needs to get home for whatever reason. He's having a bad day. It's just things aren't lining up for him. I've had days like that. This morning was a bit of negative, but you have to find the positive in these negative situations and try to transcend those situations. Some other Bitcoin news. I don't know if you guys are tracking some of the stuff going on in the Bitcoin space. Today was a big day for Bitcoin news. I'm actually excited to see what it is now. I'm gonna have to. I don't have internet right now. I'll upload it. I wish I could just live stream my videos straight to YouTube. I wonder if I can actually just live stream straight to YouTube. That would be a useful feature. If I cannot, just to save time. Really busy right now working on the Level Up Esport app, which is a blockchain-based app we want to bring Bitcoin to billions with the Level Up Esport app. And esports is a huge marketplace. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. I see a future in which VR esports is huge, where you're watching people play like Call of Duty type World War One first person shooters or any kind of first person shooter, and they got the gun and they're in the treadmill like the Omni Virtuix, and they're competing against, that's like kind of the new modern warfare, is like this electronic, and it's just for fun. It's just a game that we're playing, and maybe there is resources based on that. You win Bitcoin using our app. That's what we eventually like to get to. We have our own cryptocurrency called Expert, where you gain this Expert cryptocurrency, which is built on the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's kind of like, even by just having a little bit of our Expert, you're buying real estate on the Bitcoin blockchain in some ways, in some sense of the world. What other Bitcoin news do I have for you today? Guys, type in Bitcoin, Google News, look at the news. There was a few, I saw an article about Bitcoin. Some company was saying Bitcoin might triple next year because of Trump. And that's a possibility, that Bitcoin triples next year because of Trump. But if Bitcoin if Bitcoin triples in a small amount of time, it's probably going to quadruple, and then it's just going to explode. And that's when it goes to the moon. Is if Bitcoin makes another huge lift like that, it's just going to get so much attention. And now there is the infrastructure. Coinbase is insured. People go to Coinbase, and it's that simple. And it doesn't have to be Coinbase. Coinbase is the one I'm using. I have my referral link. If you want that, I can post that or give that referral link to you. If you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, I get $10. I think we both get $10, or I get $10 worth of Bitcoin. So it's mutually beneficial for both of us, and that's what this is all about: altruism. We would like to live in an altruistic society where we contribute value by giving each other our time and our value and our expertise in different subjects, and we gain experience. I gain knowledge by your comments. Your comments really, like, even if they're simple, like crypto. He's always giving me some love with a thumbs up. That keeps me going. That kind of stuff keeps the Bitcoin spirit in me strong and growing stronger when I see your comments. And we want the Bitcoin spirit to be strong and powerful and help us create this more positive reality. So like the video, share the video, subscribe, leave a comment, talk about Bitcoin with me. Let's Skype about it. Let me consult with you. I would learn, if you might know more about Bitcoin than me. I'd love to talk to you and grow my knowledge in the Bitcoin space. I'd love a Bitcoin related job. If you are a startup, I would love to work for you in different ways. We can work for each other. This is great. This is an opportunity we have here to grow. Until next time, this is day 1302 of the Bitcoin Globe, counting the days down until the next Bitcoin halving.